In 9 AD, this space-dependent machine marched into an environment where geometry was physically impossible. 3 full legions, roughly 20,000 men, marched in, and none of them came out. The architect of this disappearance was Arminius. He was a Germanic tribal chief, but he had also been a Roman citizen and a trained officer in the Roman military. This dual identity was the Romans' undoing. Arminius understood the mechanics of the legions perfectly, including their absolute reliance on terrain that allowed for cohesive formations. He exploited the Roman mindset of aggressive expansion by feeding commanders false reports of a rebellion in the north. He knew the Romans would move quickly to suppress any threat to their new territory. To reach the supposed rebellion, Arminius convinced the Roman governor to take a shortcut. The army left the paved roads and marched directly into the Teutoburg Forest. Arminius had engineered a scenario that systematically deconstructed the tactical environment the Romans needed to function. The reality of the forest was immediate: dense trees, uneven soil, and thick mud. There was no room for a cohort to stand shoulder to shoulder, let alone form a wedge or a square. The trees forced the army to unspool. A cohesive fighting force of 20,000 men was stretched into a thin, vulnerable, single-file line that was several miles long. When the torrential rain began, Arminius triggered the ambush. Germanic warriors swarmed from the tree line, attacking the isolated segments of the Roman lines simultaneously. The Romans were trapped in the mud. They could not form defensive squares because they were too strung out, and they could not use their shields effectively because the trees physically blocked their movements. At the Kalk-Creasy archaeological site in Germany, researchers have spent decades uncovering the physical evidence of this mechanical breakdown. One find at the site reveals a specific horror: the iron plates of a Roman legionary's armor. Because the soil is acidic, his body rotted away long ago, but the metal remains, including the iron shackles used by the victors to bind his hands and neck. Inside the forest, Roman technology and discipline were useless. The environment had stripped the legions of their geometry, leaving the individual soldiers isolated and exposed. The total annihilation of 3 legions caused a panic in the capital.